Now at 10, we're tracking showers, thunderstorms, some severe weather. I'm going to have these details for you.
Feasibility study in Bourbon County, Kansas.
After trying to pass a law for 100 years, lynching is now a federal hate crime. I'm Michael George with reaction from one of the bill's sponsors.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thunderstorms are rolling into the area tonight. This is KOAM News at 10. We go straight to Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy.
Yeah, showers, thunderstorms have been ongoing out to our west in our western counties over the past several hours. Severe thunderstorm watch out in portions of southeastern Kansas, which I do think this watch is going to, or at least we're going to have some new ones that pop up, most likely southwestern Missouri and Arkansas later on tonight. But majority of this line is going to stay mainly to our north. It's going to affect our far western counties. What we are going to have to watch out for are some of these storms getting into Chanute, Yates Center, Iola, over toward Fort Scott, Independence. And these are pretty potent. They're strong to low-grade severe. The main threat here has been gusty winds and also some large hail. However, as you track farther south, this line is starting to get going out toward Oklahoma City, west of Tulsa. It's mainly this, which will affect most of the metro as we get into the overnight hours tonight. But there may be a weird little split here where from Independence, Parsons, Pittsburgh to Nevada, not that many storms. So of course, we're going to break this all down for you, all coming up here in just a bit.
See you then. Thanks, Doug. Bourbon County, Kansas commissioners today met again with Noble Health to discuss a feasibility study as they consider the future of the old Mercy Hospital building that closed in 2018. Noble representatives presented a summary of key findings from their hospital feasibility study, although that study is not finished. The building currently belongs to the county. Once the study is complete, the county will have a better understanding of the costs. In Missouri, 2 Noble hospitals have ceased all operations. Noble Health was not available for comment after the meeting.
Well, there is no relation to Kansas. What's going on in Missouri is happening in Missouri. That's a completely different hospital system, a completely different issue. Has nothing to do with what's going on in Kansas and vice versa.
The study is expected to be completed in 4 to 6 weeks. Newton County, Missouri Dispatch Department officials say new improvements should provide more reliable 911 response. Dispatchers now have new consoles with more space and have replaced an old landline system that was prone to break down.
The 911 service that we're receiving is top notch. We have better communications now with between dispatch and our officers, and better communications between the other agencies. So it's a great benefit.
They also plan to add another member to their dispatch team. The improvements are funded by the public safety tax that was passed back in August of 2020. Local elections are 1 week away, and that's going to include several tax issues like school bonds. The Southwest R5 school district in Berry County, Missouri is asking voters to approve a bond worth $2 million. That bond would fund the construction of a trap shooting range and a baseball and softball field with a press box, restrooms, and concession stand.
Our students at Southwest, although they've been used to and they are pleased and very proud of what facilities we have, they deserve to have the nicest facilities that we can provide for them.
If approved, the district's current debt service levy would stay at the current rate. The Quapaw, Oklahoma School District is also asking voters to approve a bond. This one is worth a little more than $3.5 million. It would fund a roof replacement and construction of a safe room for the elementary school, restroom renovations for the middle school, and add bleachers to the main gymnasium. If approved, it would raise property taxes. For the first time in U.S. history, lynching is now a federal hate crime. President Biden and Vice President Harris held an event in the White House Rose Garden today, highlighting the importance of the new law. Michael George reports.
With the stroke of a pen, President Biden signed into law a bill making lynching a federal hate crime.
The law is not just about the past, it's about the present and our future as well.
The legislation was named after 14-year-old Emmett Till, who was kidnapped, tortured, and killed in Mississippi in 1955 after being accused of whistling at a white woman. The case was a catalyst for the civil rights movement, but an all-white jury ultimately acquitted the 2 white men accused of Till's murder.
The victims of lynching and their families and all of our society deserve that we recognize the crimes and the injustice.
More than 200 similar bills to outlaw lynching have previously failed in Congress. Under the new act, those who carry out hate crimes could face up to 30 years in prison.
I am elated.
Democratic Congressman Bobby Rush of Illinois, who sponsored the Emmett Till anti-lynching bill, says it's needed now more than ever.
After 100 years, over 200 attempts, we're finally making lynching a criminal act.
Earlier this year, the 3 white men convicted of murdering Ahmaud Arbery were found guilty of federal hate crimes. They received life sentences at the state level for targeting the 25-year-old jogger. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
According to the FBI, the total number of hate crimes nationwide has increased every year but one since 2014. Coming up, Missouri Southern's faculty and staff got a free lunch and an update about what's happening in the university, plus how a class at Joplin High School is teaching students the ins and outs of origami. Missouri Southern faculty and staff today got together for a MOSO Connect event. It's a chance for university employees to get together, have some lunch, and learn about new programs and activities coming to campus. Today's event focused on recreational services offered by the school. Students from the eSports Club provided a gaming demonstration.
Enter some tournaments, maybe win some money for the college and the group. So it's something that kids are already doing. Why would we not have a place here for them to do it on campus? Another way to connect with them on campus and help them be more successful.
Officials said the eSports program will ramp up in mid to late April. Aspiring scientists today showcased their latest experiments. Missouri Southern hosted its annual regional science fair for middle and high school students from surrounding counties in Missouri and Kansas. The categories include behavioral and social sciences, microbiology, chemistry, and computer science, among others.
I'd like to think we're teaching more than just scientific method and analytical thinking and stuff like that. There's a sense of, I'm trying to teach and instill in them a sense of independence and taking initiative.
Awards handed out to the winners include cash prizes. Tonight we're continuing our program of feature stories written, shot, and edited by local students with a story from Joplin High School. An instructor there is teaching an art that dates back hundreds of years, and it involves a simple piece of paper. Reporter Darren Zustiak, shows us what it's like learning the ways of origami.
Dinosaurs may be extinct, but in Levi Butt's classroom, they're alive and well. He teaches Spanish at Joplin High School during the day, but started origami when he was a kid as a result of not being able to read well. When he was in middle school, he was looking at an origami book and started making his first paper crane.
While everyone else was reading the book, I started trying to follow those instructions, and it took me a little while to figure it out, but I figured out how to make a paper crane, and I really liked that. And then afterwards, I just kept making those and learned how to make some different models.
Mr. Butts says when students get done early with their Spanish work, he shows them some Origami 101. Maddie Wilson, a junior at Joplin High School, also loves to do origami.
Honestly, my friend Aaron showed me how to make a butterfly with a Post-it, and so I showed Mr. Butts one time how to do that, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I did origami. Let me show you how to make a dinosaur." And that was my first little introduction to it, I guess.
Anyone can do origami. All you have to do is focus, and if you get lost, like most things, there are YouTube tutorials to help.
Honestly, I think the biggest thing is to pay attention to detail, because if you don't pay attention to detail, you're going to come out with something completely different than you wanted to come out with. So,
if the diagrams don't make any sense to you and you want to make something, then look it up, and odds are there's a 7-minute video of a guy or a woman or a person, anybody, making that model that you want to learn how to make. And if that video doesn't make any sense, there's probably 8 more that do the same models.
So if you need a new party trick or just want some cool desk ornaments, check in with Mr. Butts. Reporting for Jet HD, this is Darren Zustiak.
Again, thanks to Joplin High School student Darren Zustiak for that report. A Kansas-based group made the trip across state lines to Joplin as part of a listening tour. Kansas Leadership Center is a nonprofit organization that helps communities build leadership skills. Today, they discussed building healthy entrepreneurial ecosystems and improving civic engagement.
It's a listening tour from about 22 communities so that we can gather information, do a lot of listening, a lot of learning, and then take that to the next phase.
The group is traveling to Missouri, Iowa, and Nebraska to talk with residents. It's part of their Heartland Together tour. That tour is going to last until April 5th. Freeman Health System is donating money to a collaborative program designed to help the community. A whole lot of money. The health system today presented a check for $225,000 to One Joplin. Multiple local organizations are part of the program, which works to meet community needs, including health, opioid education, domestic violence response, and homelessness prevention.
So we typically come together and say, what resources can we share? And oftentimes it may require applying for a grant. And oftentimes those are too far out in the future to make an impact. So this funding today allows us to meet those needs and to come together and continue momentum.
That $225,000 donation will be broken up into yearly installments of $75,000 each for 3 years. A little bit later, the defending state champion Colgan Panthers hit the softball mound in a doubleheader against Independence.
And we're going to break down our thunderstorms for the rest of tonight coming up next. Well, it turned out warm and very windy for us today. We have winds gusting 45 miles per hour at times, still have winds out there at about 45 miles per hour. We've been watching this line of showers, thunderstorms, slowly advancing off toward the north and to the east. The individual cells are actually moving pretty quickly, but the line, not so much. And it's mainly been in our western, northwestern counties. You can see this intense line of thunderstorms. Most of those have small hail, quarter-size hail, pea to quarter, and winds anywhere, the non-severe 50 miles per hour, and then the stronger ones 60, 65. But look at them lifting northeast. That's why most of us haven't seen anything, because the line is staying off to the north and to the west of us. So the metro, so anywhere from Joplin, Pittsburgh, Carthage, Neosho, Miami, we're good for the next several hours. Then we'll start to get into the action later on tonight. Now, western counties, you've had some moderate thunderstorms. Here's Montgomery County. Let's track north. Wilson, Woodson County, Neosho County, Allen County. These are just kind of moderate thunderstorms. The bigger line just to the north and to the west of Yates Center, and this is going to hit Yates Center, so you're going to get some pretty intense rains. But none of these right now are severe. They're just strong storms. We are going to get a few severe thunderstorms, but most of these right now are just strong, good old thunderstorms across the region. They do extend all the way back into northeastern or north central parts of Oklahoma. And then as you get down into central Oklahoma, this is kind of the next line that is going to develop. So if you watch this line, most of this is going to stay to our north. What's developing to the south will mainly ride along the I-44 corridor and south. So see the split right here? There's not going to be a lot of action. So I don't expect really any severe weather from this split. But along and south of I-44, we may get some strong to severe storms a little bit later on tonight. So these are going to be hit and miss across the region. Now, temps. We're still sitting right around 70. Still really windy. We have winds 20 to 30, and then we're still getting those gusts 40 to about 45 miles per hour. But as of right now in Joplin, it looks fine. I don't think any rain, any thunderstorms into the metro for probably 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 hours. 70. Look at the gusts at about 37 miles per hour. Still low threat of severe weather, but again, northwestern counties and southern counties. Through the heart, I think our threat is much lower as we go through the overnight. All right, let's go through time. You can see our northern storms, then our southern storms along and south of I-44. Now back behind it, we're going to get some additional thunderstorms, non-severe, late tonight. I think our overall severe threat will drop after about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Then we're just going to have periods of showers and thunderstorms, non-severe, through the morning hours into the midday hours. Then a cold front drops in. So afternoon temperatures tomorrow are going to be sitting into the mid-40s. So it's a pretty good switch by tomorrow afternoon. All right, so severe threat sticks around for about the next 6 hours. But again, it's going to be northern counties, mainly southern counties. We're going to be watching it through the overnight. We'll start in the 60s, drop into the 40s tomorrow afternoon. Some showers stick around on Thursday, another little batch late Friday into Saturday, but the bulk of the weekend looks pretty good.
And that is the light at the end of this week-long tunnel.
Always a nice light.
Thanks, Doug. Still ahead, the defending state champion Colgan softball team plays their home opener against Independence. And the Missouri Southern Lions turn in their best offensive performance of the season against Rogers State. Jacob Leonard has that and more up next.
The Missouri Southern Lions are at home tonight hosting the Rogers State Hillcats. Now, this is the second of 3 scheduled meetings between the two teams this season. The Lions looking to even the season series after an extra innings loss to the Hillcats 2 weeks ago. Cole Gaiman, Webb City kid, great start on the mound for the Lions. 4 shutout innings with 4 strikeouts. But the story of the night was the 4th inning. Cole Robinson to center. That scores Tommy Stevenson. At that point, it's 9-0 Lions. But then Matt Miller really hammers this one with the Robinson on. 2-run shot makes it 11-0. Later in the same inning, they've batted around Miller again. Another absolute bomb. 3-run shot. Miller goes 4 for 5 tonight. 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. Southern scored 13 in the 4th, and it kind of got uncomfortable. Lions pound Rogers State 25-2. Pittsburgh State also at home facing Emporia State tonight. The Gorillas won 15 of their last 18. This one, it's over 2. Pitt State wins at 11-2. Caleb Carr goes 2 for 2 with a pair of home runs and 4 RBIs. The Colgan Panthers are the defending 2A softball state champions. Colgan opened the season last night with a doubleheader sweep on the road against Liberal, Missouri. Now tonight, the home opener for the Panthers, hosting Independence in a doubleheader in Pittsburgh. A big-time 2-out rally for the Panthers in the first. Ava Wilson back up the middle. RBI single. Colgan leads 2-0. Later in the inning, bases loaded for Ava Glover, hitting in the 9 spot. Glover finds the gap in right center. That'll clear the bases. It's a triple for Glover, and it's 6-0. The very next pitch, Lauren Yagmore clears the fence in left for the 2-run shot. Colgan scores 8 runs with 2 outs in the first. They add to their lead in the second inning. Trinity Taylor with 2 on. Gets it in the wind, out to left. 3-run homer. All Colgan in game 1. They beat Indy 15-5. So in game 2, Colgan looking for the doubleheader sweep. They were down 4 going to the 7th, but they rallied to win it 8-6. Lauren Flood gets the walk-off 2-run single. Panthers are now 4-0 to begin the season. The Fort Scott High School softball team hosts its annual varsity tournament today. That tournament's a 1-day, 4-team tournament with 4 games on the schedule this afternoon. Now, the Tigers on the field first today facing Spring Hill. Spring Hill pitcher Maggie McNally, she was really good. McNally strikes out the side to begin the game. More from her in just a moment. Now, bottom of the first, Broncos get on the board. Vanessa Murray with 2 on, clears the fence out there in center. 3-run jack for Murray. Fort Scott down 3-0 after 1, and it was really a tough day for their offense. I promised more Maggie McNally in the circle there. There it is. 13 strikeouts and 5 innings for McNally. On the other side, Camden Farrell pitching for Fort Scott. Trying to keep it close, strikeout there, but the Tigers, they didn't score until the 5th. Here the pitch gets by the catcher. Maddie Cook trots in from third. That's not going to be enough. Spring Hill tops Fort Scott in this one 14-1. Now Spring Hill would go on to the championship game and win the tournament title over Ottawa. So Fort Scott goes to the 3rd place game where they face Chanute this evening. In that one, the Blue Comets get 6 in the 4th, beating the Tigers and taking 3rd 13-5. Grace Thompson gets 4 hits and drives in 5. To baseball in Joplin, big one tonight for the Eagles, welcoming in the McDonald County Mustangs. McDonald County is 6-1 to start the season. Look at this, great win for Joplin. They take down the Mustangs 11-8. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran of the Vietnam War for this Vietnam Veterans Day. Enlo Kilman served in the U.S. Army in 1967 and 68. His hometown, Carthage, Missouri. And we salute Specialist Enlo Kilman, a four-state hero. Now, since today is Vietnam War Veterans Day, Spring River Christian Village in Joplin wanted to honor those who serve. The village teamed up with Joplin Jeep Junkies, a nonprofit group, to host a patriotic Jeep parade for the seniors living at the village. Jeeps were widely used by the U.S. military in Vietnam. The group also made poppies as gifts for the residents who served.
Don't feel like there's ever enough appreciation to be given, and it's just such a great thing for our club to get together, decorate our Jeeps up, and just come out in a rally force and spread the joy and love and appreciation we have for our veterans.
Bit of history, March 29th is celebrated as Vietnam War Veterans Day because it was on this date in 1973 that the last U.S. combat troops left Vietnam. And Jeeps, of course, they date back to World War II.
We used to have an old CJ7 that I wish I still had when I was a young kid.
Really? Yeah.
Don't have it.
I think Jeep meant general purpose vehicle back in the day.
Yeah,
back
we'll go with that.
Really early days. Yeah. Or maybe I just made that up.
Nobody's going to argue with you.
Yeah. No one else would remember. The weather.
Yeah, we're still tracking these thunderstorms, which we will be through the overnight hours tonight. Kind of a loud night in spots. Tomorrow, our temps are going to be into the 60s during the morning, but we're going to drop into the 40s during the afternoon.
Final sports note.
Matt Miller, the Aurora High School kid, 4 for 5, 3 home runs, a double, 8 RBIs against Rogers State. Just a huge game.
Impressive for sure. Morning show starts at 5 a.m. Let's make it a great tomorrow.
Services provided by the Wild Side in